That rush when your boss tells you, go for the bigger role. That gut punch when you don't get the promotion you worked hard for. Or worse, the silence and not knowing where your career is headed. These moments aren't random. They're all driven by one system in every company: talent development. On paper, it's supposed to create clarity, opportunities, and growth. It's fundamental for a healthy culture and engaged workforce. So here's the catch. If it is so important, why do so many companies still get it wrong? My name is Jafar, an HR professional with 10 years of experience in the field, and this is the HR Diary, where we talk HR confidential and shape awesome organizations. Today, I will shine light on 3 pitfalls of talent development. Why the word talent ruins the methodology, lack of clarity of what potential really means, equating growth with promotion. At the end, we will conclude with the bigger picture, workforce as the last community. Welcome to the first episode of my series on the pitfalls of talent development. Hit subscribe and like button to help support the growth of the HR Diary community. Let's get into it. Chapter number 1. Why the word talent ruins the methodology. In the beginning, I was going to say that using the word talent introduces unnecessary complications. But in reality, it ruins everything. The moment we talk about talent, whether intentionally or not, we talk about innate abilities, stuff we are born with. It dismisses hard work, grit, and perseverance. We might openly declare that we value hard work more than talent, but research shows that unconsciously we put more stock into their naturals. By talking about talent at work, we send the message that success depends on being born with certain qualities. You either have it or you don't, and that flies directly into the face of Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset. In corporate organizations, talent is certainly not a good indicator of how far a person can go. And the problem goes further. The word talent is usually reserved for high flyers, so-called high potentials. When we speak about talent development, we are essentially sending a signal to the entire organization that we focus on 5 up to 10% of the workforce and we leave everyone else out. How absurd is that? Sure, you could argue a point that we could call everyone talent, but that makes little sense either. I know that for some this might sound like simple semantics, but I truly believe that words shape our reality. There is a simple way out of this pitfall. Instead of saying talent development, let's shift towards people growth management. Chapter number 2. Lack of clarity of what potential really means. Every company loves to talk about high potential talent. The promise is simple: invest in a few, get outsized returns. Identify them early, send them overseas, tough assignments, grow future top leaders. Sounds great, but here's the catch. Most organizations never explain what potential is or how they assess it. That leaves employees, especially those not tapped for the fast lane, scratching their heads and wondering, what is the secret formula that management is using to predict the future? And the truth is, there is research, actually decades of research. We know certain behavioral competences that are great predictors of who can take bigger roles in the future and influence at scale. But unless companies commit to a certain set and communicate openly, the potential remains an esoteric black box. When you put behavioral competences on the table, 3 things happen. You create transparency, you shape behaviors people actually develop, and you open better conversations between leaders and their team members. So you might ask, okay Jafar, what are those behavioral competences? Let me give you an example set. Number 1, learning agility. The ability to climb a learning curve no matter how steep. Research shows that it outperforms IQ, EQ, and even experience as a future predictor of leadership potential. Number 2, mental agility. This one is all about critical thinking, problem solving under ambiguity, and all of that supercharged with constant curiosity. Number 3, empathy. The ability of seeing the world through others' eyes as the basis for solid strategizing and influencing, very often combined with adaptability. Number 4, communication. Turning complex data into clear and inspiring messages tailored to the audience. Number 5, influencing without authority, galvanizing people to your ideas without pulling the rank. And underpinning all of it, the foundation, ambition and grit. When companies adopt and communicate a set of behavioral competences like these, they supercharge growth. Assessments become grounded, development becomes more purposeful, and employees finally know what potential actually means. Chapter number 3. Equating growth with promotion. I bet that most people in your company equate growth with promotion. Climbing the ladder, bigger job title, bigger office, bigger paycheck. But the perception that growth is one-dimensional and vertical only is very much old school. In reality, there are 3 lanes of development, and depending on which season of life you're in, you might switch in between. So there's the left lane, and we discussed it a bit. This one is for the high flyers. They get those big projects, they're stretched, they usually move overseas, and they're tapped for the future top leadership roles. Then there is the middle lane. It's for the people who still grow into different positions, very often take lateral moves, deliver outstanding results. Probably they're not aiming at the C-suite top jobs. And then there is the right lane. This one is the most misunderstood. This is where the experts are, the people that want to go deep in the field, not high on the org charts. These are people who stay in the role for years and want to become masters. And here's the problem. Most talent development programs ignore the third lane. If someone says, I'm happy where I am, companies think, okay, cool, I don't bother. And then all the development effort goes into the fast lane. But that's a massive mistake. Not everyone wakes up in the morning thinking, how do I get promoted into the next role? But people do wake up in the morning thinking, how can I achieve mastery in what I do? And as we know from Drive by Dan Pink, mastery alongside autonomy and purpose are the main drivers, are the main cornerstones for motivation. If you don't give your experts that road to mastery, you start them off one of the key components to motivation. And in the long run, the company starves itself because your deepest know-how, your experts, the soil of the company is left undernourished. So what can we do to improve this? Step number 1, very simple, everyone should have a growth conversation. As a leader, make it clear that the right lane is not a slow lane, it's the road to mastery. Everyone is in the driver's seat for their growth. Leaders are co-pilot, they sit next to everyone and they help them navigate and set the right course. Make use of spotlight programs to recognize people on the road to mastery. If your company has additional bonuses, make sure to use those for financial recognition as well. And finally, nominate your masters to become mentors for other, maybe more junior colleagues. This is a very powerful way to recognize someone's achievements. And finally, chapter number 4, the bigger picture, workplace as the last community. These were the first 3 pitfalls of people growth management. My hope is that by naming them, we can start better conversations at workplaces about what growth really means, what is this esoteric potential, and what are the desired behaviors we want to see to shape the culture of the organization. But here's the bigger picture. In today's world, many of the old communities are fading. Fewer people go to church, fewer neighborhoods feel like neighborhoods, and for many of us, workplace is the last real community we belong to. And if that's true, then getting people growth management right isn't about careers and aspirations. It's about creating workplaces where people feel connected, purposeful, and able to grow. And better people growth management equals better workplaces. So better workplaces equal better communities. This was HR Diary. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week. HR out.